Aw, animals.
Revenge of the wild turkeys. There are a lot more turkeys in the Bay Area this year, and no, we don't mean on people's Thanksgiving tables. Flocks of turkeys have left the wild and are now running amok in suburban California. The wild birds are possibly the worst squatters ever, messing up properties, leaving their crap everywhere, and slowly taking over. Rude. They're also pretty aggressive and have been known to attack a mailman or two in their quest for suburban domination. Apparently, you're not supposed to feed the birds because they get cocky and start thinking they own the place. So what's a neighborhood to do? Well, it is the Thanksgiving season. If you can't drive them away, you may as well make like the pilgrims and roast the damn birds. Don't forget the gravy. It's a jungle out there.
Zebra turns on zoo worker during performance. Who ever thought zebras could be so angry? Apparently, not this poor guy, who's being taken for a bumpy ride by the striped horse. During a performance in Chimelong Safari Park in Guangzhou, China, the zebra wasn't very happy about being rushed through his act. Tired of taking orders from the trainer, the zebra decided to bite back, and hard. Chomping on the man's arm, he then dragged him around for the next 2 minutes, running away from zoo staff and refusing to let go. Guests of the park could only watch in horror. When the zebra finally released his grip, the man, surnamed Lee, was lucky to have his hand back with only minor injuries. The incident took place on December 29th of last year, and the footage is making the rounds in a week of videos showing zoo animals getting revenge. A few days ago, a man who snuck into a zoo in eastern China met his end when he accidentally landed in a tiger pen, mauled to death as his wife and children watched. Maybe this is all an indication that wild animals aren't crazy about living in zoos,
Bali elephant attacks and kills handler. An elephant handler on the Indonesian holiday island of Bali died horribly on April 28th when the pachyderm he was planning to feed suddenly and violently snapped. The victim was Balinese man Inoman Levy, the owner of an elephant tour and rafting concern. According to eyewitnesses, Levy and 2 other handlers went to the elephant cage around noon to feed the animals. As Levy began the feeding, a bull elephant named Lampong attacked. The other handlers watched in horror as Lampong wrapped its trunk around Levy, lifted him up, and then smashed him into the ground with brutal force. Levy quickly lost consciousness. The other handlers swiftly delivered the poor mangled man to the hospital, but his injuries were too severe, and Levy died a short time later. A post-mortem exam revealed nasty gashes on Levy's head and the right side of his chest, according to the Bali Post. Police, stating the obvious, have recorded Levy's death as a workplace accident. One of the hazards of working with giant, unrestrained animals, unfortunately. There was no immediate word on the fate of the elephant.
Cheetah attacks tourists on 2 consecutive days. A cheetah in South Africa has put foolish tourists on notice after video footage released this month captured its attack on an exchange student, which took place just a day before the big cat scratched the shit out of a New Zealand teen. While on vacation last month, the driver family from New Zealand visited the Mdanini Safari Park Lodge to get up close to some orphaned cheetahs. They were told that depending on the mood of the animals, they might even be able to touch the hand-raised cats. Unfortunately, one of the cheetahs, Du, was not down with being petted and instead pushed 14-year-old Isaac Driver to the ground and started mauling him. Isaac's father managed to pull Du off his son, and luckily, the boy only sustained minor injuries. The family hadn't been informed ahead of time that Du had actually attacked someone the day before. Had they seen this footage of the cheetah getting too close for comfort with exchange student Peggy Liao from Macau, they probably would have kept their distance. Liao escaped without injury, but you don't get past a cheetah attack without some psychological trauma. South Africa's tourist board does have an anti-petting policy for wild animals, but somehow it's still legal in the country. Go figure. As a result of the bad publicity though, cheetah interaction has been suspended for the time being.
Russian zookeeper mauled by tiger. Visitors at a Russian zoo saved a woman from a horrific death by tiger mauling, and it's all thanks to their quick thinking. Someone had left the 16-year-old Siberian tiger's cage open, so when the zookeeper wandered into the enclosure to deliver food, the animal pounced. The terrified zookeeper was pinned helplessly on the ground as the big cat clawed and gnawed at her. Onlookers began throwing rocks at the animal, but only made it angrier. It It wasn't until some visitors hurled a table and chairs into the enclosure that the tiger got distracted, which allowed the zookeeper to flee to safety. The 44-year-old zookeeper was immediately taken to the hospital and is currently recovering from her wounds. The tiger was later shot with a sedative and taken back to its cage. Zoo staff say the animal has no history of being aggressive towards humans and will not be put down. They're also blaming the attack on the zookeeper, claiming that the gruesome incident happened because she violated safety protocol.